Hello, and we are coming at you again with the Restoring Honor to America. And this is part 3. Y'all know we done caused a little discussion going on email, on social networks, on a lot of different places, because people are now discussing exactly what it would take to restore honor to this continent that is now called America. So, got a little bit of a consensus today among some of the more hostile black people who reluctantly had to admit that they could not come up with anything that America has done, white America has done honorably. They, went through a whole list of things that they were taught in school were these noble and honorable things. And then once we broke them down today, they, of course, had to admit that it was mostly, some of it was extremely dishonorable, and most of it was dishonorable. So we're going to open you up with one of the points that came through today, because they were saying, okay, well, if we now, are able to admit that the things that happen to black people and are happening to black people in this country as well as in other countries is not based on honor, then, what do we do to get everybody united? What do we do to get people going? And so there's always, when you're having this discussion between blacks about what do we do, the solutions and whatnot, it's always, people who say, well, black people need to unite. Black people need to come together. They're waiting for the civil rights people to, they're saying, we need to get Al Sharpton to lead the way and lead it right and all this good stuff. And so, of course, I had to hit them with a poem. So I'm going to hit you with the same one. And this one is called, You Just Keep On Going, Don't You Wait for Me. It says, there were times when Harriet Tubman got tired of walking. There were times when Malcolm X got tired of talking. There were points when Nat Turner got tired of preaching. There were points that Frederick Douglass got tired of reaching. There were days when Marcus Garvey got tired of fighting. There were days when W.B. Du Bois got tired of writing. There were answers on which civil rights blacks got tired of debating. There were answers on which black communities got tired of waiting. There were responsibilities that black parents got tired of yelling. There was black history that black elders got tired of telling. There were black issues that black institutions got tired of facing. There were black dreams that black children got tired of chasing. Though some may waste time on things that don't make any sense, and when it comes time for decisions, they straddle the fence. And some are afraid to do more because they don't want to lose what little they have, so they don't even move. And some lost what they had. Now they hold what they've got. Scared to risk it again. Faith in God takes a lot. And though I may fall back from what I'm supposed to be, you just keep on going. Don't you wait for me. That's the Black Panther poem from Nita Black. And that's what I hit them with earlier today. And you just got hit with the same thing. We have a lot of people who request poems, but that was one that I wanted to do because it came up today. All right, let's get into it. So in the first show, we learned that in order to restore something, you must go back to a point at which it had it. So when you hear this at this white rally, that white Tea Party people, white news people, white American people, period, are trying to go back to a time where America was honorable. And you realize that in order for them to do that, you know that that's not something that they actually want to do, because in order to do it, by definition, you would have to go back to a time when before white folks got here. So, we talked about today in the discussions about the difference between a world that was all black, and one of the fellows was trying to explain to a couple of the females that, when you're talking about a world being all black, first of all, most black people that you talk to do not believe that the world was once all black. They, of course, want to know, okay, well, if the world was all black, then where do white people come from? And so, of course, in order to answer that question, you would have to, first of all, know where black people come from. And since many blacks, they were even having a situation today where they were talking about the number of people that use only 10% of their brain and why that is. We talked about how a lot of black people, until they die and are able to go back to wherever it is that they came from, they have lost a lot of the intelligence, a lot of the memory, a lot of the intuitiveness that they were sent here with. They got here, and along the way they allowed themselves to lose what they were sent with. And as you know, our ancestors put a lot of information and left a lot of information here for us, but blacks basically ignored much of that information, although they see every day that demonic whites are constantly breaking into those pyramids, those tombs, those sacred burial grounds, and stealing that information. Another dishonorable act, but there's a reason that whites are trying their best to not only get a hold of this information that was left by black ancestors, but to decipher it in order for them themselves to find out where black people came from. And I have no doubt that the only reason they want to know those things is so that they can start the destructive process from the beginning. So you see a lot of movies that white folks make, and white folks make movies to illustrate the things that they desire, the things that they're contemplating, that they're working on. And one of the movies, is about going back to the beginning before something happens and stopping it before it happens. And so if you can imagine the destructive nature of this unnatural being since it has encountered black people, not even speaking of the dishonorable things that have been done and that is done on a daily basis. For example, we talked about the incarceration of black people from a judge standpoint, prosecution standpoint,